Some say the meaning of life lies in love, finding someone who accepts you completely and shares your most cherished moments. Others chase success, measuring their worth in business deals and the prestige that comes with influence and wealth. For some, happiness itself is the answer, that rare, unshakable joy that nothing else in life can rival. But for Hen, the answer has always been survival. Even as a child, Hen had a singular purpose: to escape poverty. While other kids played with toys and ran through the streets without a care, he was learning how to stitch fabric by hand, helping his grandmother make ends meet. As he grew older, he took whatever jobs he could find: gas station attendant, delivery boy, anything that paid. Time didn't slow down. Hen grew into a young man, and his grandmother, once full of energy, now struggled just to care for herself. Watching her age while still relying on him only fueled Hen's determination to break free of their situation, no matter what it took. One day, on his way home from another job, Hen paused in front of a massive screen glowing with an advertisement. It showcased Royal Road, the most anticipated full-dive virtual reality game in history, a sprawling digital world where players could rise to power, even become emperors. Hen stared at the screen, captivated by the promise of freedom and opportunity. But then, reality set back in. Royal Road wasn't a path to income. It was a distraction. No matter how beautiful or boundless it seemed, it wouldn't help him feed his family. With a sigh, he checked the little money left in his pocket and headed home. When he arrived, the familiar sound of the door creaking open signaled his return. "I'm back," he called out. From the back of the small home, his grandmother stirred, coughing lightly as she stood to greet him. Despite the pain etched on her face, she managed a warm smile. "Hen," she said softly. Hen rushed over, motioning for her to sit back down. "Don't push yourself," he reminded her gently. "You know the doctor said to rest your back." She leaned against an old closet for support and asked, "How did it go today?" In response, Hen held up a small ID card, his face brightening with pride. "I finally got it," he said. "I'm officially registered." She tilted her head. "And what does that mean for you?" "With this, I can work at cafes, or maybe even get something better," he replied, hope flickering in his eyes. "Now that I'm of age, I should be able to find decent work." Glancing around the room, Hen suddenly remembered someone. "Where's Jan?" His grandmother's smile faded. She looked away and answered, "She went out earlier and hasn't come back." Hen's brow furrowed. "With those kids again?" His grandmother nodded slowly, worry clouding her expression. "I'm afraid so. I told her not to, but you know how she is." Hen grabbed his backpack and slung it over his shoulder. "Don't worry," he said, trying to sound confident. "She'll be fine." As he turned to go, his grandmother called after him, her voice tinged with urgency. "Hen, you're her only brother. You need to protect her." He paused in the hallway and nodded. "I know," he said quietly, before heading to his room. Inside, the glow of his old computer cast a soft light against the dim walls. He powered it on, the whir of the fans greeting him like an old friend. Sitting at his desk, Hen didn't open a job board or type up a resume. Instead, he opened a game, a small escape before tomorrow's grind. As the screen loaded, Hen's thoughts drifted to plans for the coming days. He needed a job. He needed money. But for now, just for a moment, he allowed himself to breathe and to dream. Hen sat alone, trying to rationalize his decision. It had been ages since he last logged into Land of Magic, but he still remembered the countless sleepless hours he'd poured into it, nearly 200, all in one stretch once. He chuckled to himself. Those were the days. But now, life had caught up. Work, responsibilities. He couldn't balance them with gaming anymore. He looked at his character one last time, fully leveled, geared to perfection. Then, with a heavy heart, He put the account up for auction. That single click set off a chain reaction he never anticipated. Excitement erupted as the character profile went live. The listing revealed a player with maximum level, legendary achievements, and a full set of red dragon armor, one of the rarest gear sets in the game. Word spread fast. Teenagers gathered around screens, eyes wide with awe, voices rising in disbelief. Look at those stats. Who is this guy? Why would anyone sell something like that? Is he insane? The buzz reached a crescendo, loud enough to draw annoyance. A man nearby grimaced and snapped at the kids to quiet down, but their eyes remained glued to the auction window. Meanwhile, inside the Land of Magic headquarters, the atmosphere was unusually lively. Developers moved through the office, juggling tasks and updates, until one employee stopped cold. Something on their screen caught their eye. "Hey, what's going on here?" they muttered, leaning in. The name on the auction listing hit them, like a bolt of lightning. "Hen just listed that character." The employee immediately flagged the chief of operations, who strode over with curiosity. "What's this?" the chief asked, squinting at the screen. "That's Weed, the strongest player in the entire game," the employee said, almost reverently. The chief's expression shifted from intrigue to strategy. He rubbed his chin thoughtfully. "Buy it, sir." "Bid 20 times the asking price," the chief ordered, eyes glittering. "Keep raising it until we win. This could be the perfect storm. We'll turn it into a major publicity event." He turned to another team member. "Alert all top class players. Turn this into a battle of pride. If the rich elites start throwing in bids, this account could go for millions." Not long after, VIP players across the globe received discreet notifications. In the middle of a high-level meeting, an elderly executive's phone vibrated. He read the message, cracked a smug smile, and leaned back in his chair. This was going to be fun. Elsewhere, younger VIPs who thrived on adrenaline and luxury decided to dive into the action, eager to claim glory in both real and virtual worlds. And the bids exploded. Prices soared as contenders from every corner of high society began throwing their money into the ring. The race for the most powerful avatar in Land of Magic had begun. Back in the real world, Hen was still asleep, until his phone buzzed relentlessly on the bedside table. Groggily, he reached for it, rubbing his eyes. "Who even needs me this early?" he mumbled, answering the call. A professional voice greeted him. "Mr. Hen, this is Yoon Nahi, secretary from CTS Media. We've completed the transaction. The final payment has been transferred." Hen blinked, disoriented. "Wait, what?" Then it hit him, the auction. He sat up, heart pounding. "How much?" he asked cautiously, hoping for at least a few thousand. 3,910 million. Nahi replied calmly. Hen froze. He stared at the wall in silence, then slowly ended the call. His mind whirled. That can't be right. With shaking hands, he powered on his computer. It booted up slowly, agonizingly slow, today, of all days. He logged in and checked the withdrawal amount. There it was, 3,910 million won. Hen's breath caught in his throat. His pupils dilated. His fingers trembled. A bead of sweat ran down his temple. He kept staring at the screen. "Is this really happening?" he whispered, unable to look away. Hen sat in stunned silence, staring at the screen that confirmed the number. Over 3 billion won. A sum like that didn't just change a bank account, it rewrote reality. He couldn't help but wonder what it meant in the grand scheme of things. 3 billion. What kind of life came with that? His thoughts drifted back to the leaky roof of his childhood home. Back then, every rainy season brought indoor puddles, and rusted pipes groaned louder than the night wind. With this kind of money, those things would have been fixed without a second thought. He remembered walking miles because his legs were tired and his arms were full. There was never enough money for a bus, let alone a shiny motorbike. He'd passed, Restaurants with wide eyes, nose pressed against the glass, while others feasted. Wings? Just a dream. But now he could buy enough changyong and tangsuyuk to feed an army. But more than that, Hen wouldn't have to shrink into himself when others mocked the poor. With this money, he wouldn't feel less than. Not anymore. The first thing he did was take his grandmother to a private clinic, one of those with polished floors and quiet hallways where doctors actually smiled. His grandmother, gentle and cautious, looked around nervously. "Hen, are you sure this place isn't too expensive?" Hen gave her a warm, reassuring smile. "Don't worry, Grandma. Everything's going to be fine now." He held up the sleek card, his hand trembling only slightly. "We can pay the bills like everyone else. Water, heat, everything. You won't have to worry again." His grandmother's eyes glistened as she smiled and rested her hand over his. "Then, we'll be happy, right?" He nodded. "Yes, we will." For the first time in a long while, Hen allowed himself to close his eyes and picture a future full of color and possibility. But the moment was shattered by a sharp voice echoing across the room. "Well, well, what a touching little scene," the man sneered. "Brings a tear to my eye." Hen's smile faded. He turned slowly, instinct sharpening, every muscle tensing. His grandmother blinked. "Hen, who is that?" A man stood in the doorway, thin-rimmed glasses catching the clinic's soft light. He wasn't alone. Several men in suits stood behind him, blocking the hallway like shadows. The man in glasses spoke with a smug familiarity. "Lee Young, isn't it? Everything going well now?" Hen's voice was low and cold. "What do you want?" "Oh, come now," the man said, stepping further into the room. "It's been a while. Don't pretend you've forgotten who I am." The nurses tried to interject, protesting that visitors weren't allowed to enter in groups like this. The guards ignored them.